never get tired of that soundtrack. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. My name is Alfred Mergado. I am the Director of Marketing Operations here at Magaya. But today I'm going to go ahead and be your MC, DJ, or host for our webinar on how to digitize your operations and deliver a connected customer experience. So you're probably wondering what we'll chat about today. Well, we're going to be talking about how the freight industry can benefit from adapting to change by using technology, putting customers first, and improving operations, and how doing these things can make a big difference, especially when cost and market changes are a challenge. Additionally, we're going to showcase how you can leverage Magaya to do a bunch of cool things like streamline and optimize your shipping and warehousing operations, deliver the visibility, control, and ease of use across schedules, quotes, booking, tracking, inventory, invoices, and all that jazz, and access a single control tower for efficient and accurate rate management. Plus, how to grow your pipeline with a CRM and simplifying the customs compliance process. But feel like I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. So everyone's walking away. I do. I love that animation too. Everyone's actually going to be walking away with their very own door prize. It's going to be a recording of this webinar. So congrats. There you go. Additionally, please go ahead and send us your questions through the Q&A panel. I'm sure that we're going to be sharing so much interesting information. You're going to have a ton of questions. We want to make sure that we answer them for you. And if you put them in the chat, sometimes we don't get to them. That being said, let's go ahead and let's present my incredible colleagues and friends that I'll be chatting with today. First up is Christian. Christian is our VP of Product. He leads our product management team. He's incredibly passionate about building not only valuable products our customers love, but ones that can help them in their operations. Christian is also somewhat of a coffee snob. I'm sorry, connoisseur. I should know I've gone with him to Starbucks and it did not end well. And he is an avid snowboarder, which already lets you know he's not a Florida native. So go ahead and say hi, Chris.
Thanks for having me, Alfred. And yeah, my snowboarding skills got a lot better once I started doing it outside of Miami.
Well, that would be interesting to watch for sure. Next up is the incomparable and magnificent Allison. Allison is our senior solutions engineer for rate management and digital freight portal. She's been in the logistics industry for 5 years, but during those 5 years, she's made an incredible impact in the world of rate management. And I know this sounds somewhat cliche, but she's quite possibly one of the best problem solvers I've ever met in my life. And she genuinely enjoys finding the worst problems our customers have, and she solves them with ease. Also, Allison lives in Kansas City, Missouri, and roots for the Kansas City Chiefs way before people like me even knew they existed because of Taylor Swift's boyfriend. So go ahead and say hi, Allison.
Alfred, you are too sweet to me. I am happy to be here. And yes, go Chiefs. As you know, we just signed Chris Jones. So hopefully we can go for a three-peat.
Yeah, I absolutely did know that. Please, no follow-up questions because that's the extent of my knowledge. All right, so now that we're done with intros, we'd like to go ahead and get a pulse on you, our audience. That way we can go ahead and set the stage for what's to come during this webinar. So the question that you'll see on your screen is, what some of your greatest operational challenges? And feel free to go ahead and select multiple answers. It's fine. So you have automating and streamlining processes, real-time visibility, optimizing quoting, pricing, access to data and analytics. You could select all of the above, in which case, please stay all the way until the end of this webinar because we have got some awesome information for you. Or you can be the unicorn that selects none of the above, in which case, please stay all the way until the end of this webinar. We'd like to interview you to see what you're doing. And let's go ahead and let's put some background music so we can vote on that. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at those results. First place is going to be all of the above. Well, you guys have definitely picked the right webinar to come to, and it's followed by automating and streamlining processes, which is also fantastic because we have so much in store to show you on how to automate and streamline processes. So after taking a look at that, let's talk about the state of the industry right now. Let's kind of level set. We know that there are some significant challenges in the current freight world, including too many carriers, higher prices, conflicts around the world, a few other things. So it's kind of the perfect storm, so to speak, right now that we're facing in the logistics industry. Also, we've seen the trend of it becoming increasingly important for businesses to be involved in freight to focus on sustainability because of environmental, financial, and regulatory reasons. So, after taking a complete and holistic view at the industry as research for this webinar, which, yeah, there's a ton of planning that go into these, so we have to do our research. Here are our 5 key takeaways that are affecting logistics service providers today. And some of these may resonate with you. It could be multiple ones as well. So the number is the surplus of carrier capacity. Now, the container shipping industry is going through a tough time with too many ships and not enough demand. It could stay this way for at least 4 years or maybe even longer than that, according to a new report by Sea Intelligence. So there's some rough waters ahead. Next up, we have geopolitical conflicts. That also affects the supply chain. Shipping industry has been facing a ton of challenges in that area. The situation in the Red Sea has led to delays, surcharges, and container imbalances. Meanwhile, many companies have shifted their manufacturing operations to Mexico due to various reasons. Now, this third one that you see on your screen right there is all about freight rates. And Allison, you are the queen when it comes to rates. So tell us, what's your take regarding the pressure on freight rates?
Yeah, Alfred. So efforts to limit freight rate fluctuations have so far been slow, insufficient, and largely failed amid a challenging market backdrop due to a combination of several factors. There's soft demand, political challenges, uh, congested ports due to the pandemic, supply chain issues. And on top of all of that, inflation has increased operating expenses.
Yep, that's
Then
true.
there's also the next point, which is the decreased freight orders. So the e-commerce trend is expected to continue shaping the air freight industry in 2024. However, Zaneta's analysis of spot rates versus seasonal rates also shows that the general cargo market, aside from e-commerce, still faces weak demand. As we know, pandemic spending has ended and shopping less in 2024 will be multifaceted, reflecting a combination of economic, environmental, and societal factors. From economic uncertainties to a higher cost of living and a heightened awareness of sustainability and upcycling, individuals are reevaluating their relationship with consumerism. Therefore, the amount of goods being ordered and shipped has somewhat dwindled.
And we have that last point, which is sustainability. That's super important. You got to save Mother Earth. That's why I drive a Prius.
There you go. Yes, last but not least, sustainability. The environmental regulations, such as the emissions trading system, which came into effect on January 1st of this year, will have a significant impact. Carriers will be under pressure to minimize their carbon emissions and meet emission reduction targets, necessitating the adoption of sustainable practices and innovation.
Well, we've seen these 5 points, and thank you so much, Allison, for your point of view on them. So, Chris, I'm going to pivot to you for a second. If Allison is the queen of rates, you are the king of distilling information. So, what does this mean for our attendees and for logistics service providers in general?
Yes, so thanks, Alfred. Well, basic economics, right? Whenever there's a surplus in supply, competition intensifies. So logistics service providers will need to work even harder to differentiate themselves, gain customer loyalty, right? Smaller forwarders have been already finding it hard to compete with major industry players as the industry is consolidating. Bigger players have more funds to make substantial tech investments. There's this whole new category of digital newcomers or digital first newcomers. And so whenever competition intensifies, customer loyalty fluctuates as well, right? And then, the whole regulatory landscape, the environmental regulations, particularly concerning carbon emissions and reporting on them, moving towards greener fuels. It's good for the planet. We're all for it. Logistics service providers are asking who's going to pay for it in the short run, right? Because on the long run, greener fuels, they're still more expensive. Is this going to further eat away our margin as in the forwarding industry, or are the shippers going to be paying for it? Many interesting questions remain to be answered. Definitely a fascinating time in the industry. So that's my comment back to you.
And that last one, in terms of fluctuating customer loyalty. Now, this has always been an interesting one because as someone who just keeps switching between DoorDash and Uber Eats, this is going to be especially important for freight forwarders, especially logistics service providers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say, Allison, on that fluctuating customer loyalty? I feel like they have to work harder to differentiate themselves, especially if they don't want to switch back and forth between Uber Eats and DoorDash like I do.
Yeah, and I switch between, when I'm flying to Miami, it's either Southwest or Delta, whoever can get me there with no stops. So I also know a thing or two about fluctuating loyalty.
There you go. Just so long as you're not flying Boeing, they've gotten some pretty bad PR this week. All right, so we're officially out of the bad place now. We've determined what the state of the industry is, but let's move on to a bigger, better, brighter tomorrow. And here are some of the tips that we can offer that can help you get the most out of digitizing your operations. And Allison, this is your area of expertise, so I'm going to lean back and enjoy this part.
All right, so the first tip is investing in technology that your customers will enjoy using. The visibility and control that we enjoy in our daily lives has shaped the expectations that customers have for their business experiences as well. As a result, digital convenience is finding its way over to the business world. Business-to-business mobile app use is increasing. Boston Consulting Group's research found that 80% of B2B buyers are using mobile at work, and more than 60% report that mobile played a significant role in a recent purchase, which I know I just ordered something on my phone today. So saying that you deliver a great customer service just really doesn't cut it anymore. You need to complement that mentality with technology that your clients will actually enjoy using. And by putting their needs above yours and delivering a fantastic user experience, you will find success. When you're looking for a digital freight platform, pay particular attention to the customer experience portal. A white label customizable portal will not only delight your customers and save you time, but will also elevate your brand image, proving a true must-have for a modern freight forwarding company.
Mobile is the way to go.
Most definitely. And the second point is automating your freight rates, which is my favorite. As we all know, as a freight forwarder, you need up-to-date, accurate rates for quoting to customers, collaborating with agent partners, and optimal business performance. With digital freight rate management and distribution, you're able to respond faster to quote requests and improve customer satisfaction. You can turn an organizational weakness into an advantage with systemized freight rate management. With automated freight rates all in one place, you'll improve productivity as well as have the ability to quickly and accurately respond to a customer's freight rate requests. A single comprehensive digital database of contract rates and surcharges, including amendments, allows you to search and compare up-to-date rates online anytime, day or night. And as we all know, accurate, timely rates with margins systematically applied need to be quoted to our customers and effectively tracked from the quote to the invoicing. That will deliver the best customer experience and optimize business performance. Chris, can you tell us a little bit more about the rest of our tips?
Yes, for sure. So on this next slide here, we have adopt a comprehensive digital freight platform. So now what that means in plain English, what we're trying to say is have a system that does it all. Don't leave parts of your operation to rely on paper or manual emails. There are so many solutions out there to address every pain point forwarders have these days. Magaya is one of them, of course, but all of them have APIs to connect to other pieces of the puzzle, and all of that is becoming increasingly cheaper, quicker, easier to implement. And you don't need the talent or IT resources in-house. All modern systems are cloud hosted and again, increasingly easy and cheap to put in place. Magaya and others offer services to consult with you what the best way to have a comprehensive system is. And, furthermore, if we look at the next slide, don't leave that system that does it all just for your internal operations. Expand it to your customer service as well. So if we think about quote requests or rate queries, as Allison covered previously, or invoicing or ways for customers to pay their invoices to you, any kind of reports or data, either it's in an online portal or sent out on a schedule to them, or pushed via an API or even an EDI. Still, you got to meet your customers where they are. Why would you leave your customers depending on phone calls or emails if that's not the way you want to run your own business? So back to you, Alfred. I believe we have a poll.
We do. And as a matter of fact, thank you, Chris and Allison, for those points. Those were some really specific tips to be able to use. So we've hit the midway point in our webinar, and we still have a lot more ground to cover. But let's take a pause, and based on these tips that Chris and Allison just shared, which one do you think is the most useful for your operations? And we have a couple of them: investing in technology that the customers will enjoy using, kind of that mobile experience that Allison hearkened to; automating freight rates, that's a big one also mentioned; and then adopting a comprehensive digital freight platform, like Chris said, or giving your customers the tool they need to manage their business, what he said as well. You can also select all of the above, or F, none of the above. So let's go ahead and let's take a look here and give a second for our participants to answer. All right, so here we have the results, and it seems like overwhelmingly the majority of you guys said that all of the above, which is fantastic, because now we're going to go into the weeds about how Magaya can help. And here at Magaya, we're all about making sure that you have the right tools to succeed. And we've made it really easy to take your logistics operations digital, which is everything that Allison and Chris spoke about. And nobody knows Magaya better than the person spearheading the product side of it. So I'm going to let Chris light the way for us in terms of opportunities for further digitization.
Thanks, Alfred. Yes, so here, sort of an agenda slide for some of the topics that we're going to be covering in the next 15-20 minutes. How Magaya can help digitize further your operations, because very few of you are running your operations fully on paper these days. But the question is, where could you replace some of those manual processes with digital automated ones? We're going to look also into pricing and quote optimization, visibility, definitely a hot topic, and then what you could do with more data and analytics, and finally, whether implementing a CRM could help in your business. So Magaya started already more than 20 years ago, actually, in Miami, for those of you who aren't familiar with our background. And since the beginning, our philosophy has been to help companies succeed by offering them as complete of a package as possible, and that's designed to grow with them. And many of our customers in South Florida, where we started, if you find some of them and talk to them, that have been with Magaya for 15 years or more and went from a small to medium size or even bigger company in that period are really a testament to that growing together mindset. And so, now 20 plus years later, we have, instead of just one freight management solution, a total of 5 products and a number of extensions. So we really cover a lot. And this slide helps to explain our overall solution and how we see it as a platform of products, a platform for running your operations in a digital first connected way. And we want your solution with Magaya to be flexible, interoperable, and modular in the sense that you could use all of the products and extensions, or if there's just one that fits your needs, and you could use APIs to plug it into your already existing tech stack. We do support that as well. And then some of the business challenges that Magaya helps our customers solve are staying compliant with US Customs. Our US Customs compliance product that we're not going to go too much deeper into in this webinar. So I'll just say a couple words there, that in terms of responding to CBP updates, we are proud to say that we've been 100% compliant, always getting every update implemented before it goes into regulation, actually. So that's a really a source of pride for our customs compliance product. Then in general, siloed data, one of the biggest challenges, in the evolving tech landscape for any companies, is how you get the data in your different countless systems and some Excel spreadsheets to really talk to each other. We've already mentioned, getting from manual operations to automated digital ones, replacing outdated systems. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about visibility in this webinar as well.
Fantastic, Chris. And it's really important to see all these challenges that Magaya can go ahead and solve. So I'm actually going to go ahead and tackle this one, which is automation. So when people in the shipping industry do things manually, it takes a lot of time and mistakes can happen. At the end of the day, we're human, we're not robots, and this can be expensive for shipping companies. So to make things easier and cheaper, companies like Magaya use technology to automate these manual tasks and make sure that everything runs smooth as butter. But just to show you how bad it was, I'm actually going to take you down a day in the life of a logistics service provider before implementing Magaya. Now, keep in mind, this is a real life scenario of someone that we spoke to before implementing our software. So first off, they had to gather data from all over the place, spreadsheets, emails, websites, programs, and sometimes the data was even inaccurate because it's kind of like a really complicated game of telephone. They had to receive constant emails from customers requesting quotes. You have to check various portals to collect rates and then send a barrage of responses. So I hope you don't have carpal tunnel because you're going to be unhappy by the end of it. They're not sure where their cargo is. They have to answer a lot of calls in response to customer inquiries. They had to spend hours filling customs forms and documents, not confident about the compliance portion of it. And you just make a lot of accidental errors, that causes delays and unhappy customers, and you're unable to go ahead and take new business at this pace. You essentially become your own bottleneck. And trust me, if this sounds absolutely miserable, it's because it is. So in this point, I actually wanted to try out my best Princess Leia voice impersonation and say, Allison, you are my only hope. How can Magaya help?
Well, Alfred, that you explaining that experience of that logistics service provider, honestly, that was overwhelming for me. So
sorry.
But luckily, we have this graph here that shows how with Magaya, logistics service providers can digitize operations and eliminate data silos with accurate, holistic data for everyone in a single platform. You'll see each of our systems and how they all integrate here on this slide. They can also streamline and dramatically speed up the request for quote process, plus query and manage fast, accurate rates in a single control tower, our rate management. They can keep customers informed on the location of their cargo with a mobile app. and automated notifications, reducing calls and emails. Like that person sounded like they were on the phone and searching for emails all the time.
Oh, all the time.
They can also finish filing faster and communicate with CBP in real time, ensuring full compliance, like Chris mentioned. And finally, they can eliminate duplicate and manual data entry, protecting processes from human error and giving you hours back in your day, allowing you to take on more business.
That sounds fantastic. So you don't necessarily need to be a robot in your day-to-day operations. You just have to automate like one. Thank you, Allison. So pricing and quoting, this is another big piece of the puzzle. And freight forwarding pricing is complex. And I think that is the understatement of the century because it changes often and it's making it hard to create these quick quotes that customers are always asking for. Give me a quote. But pricing optimization helps forwarders offer faster custom quotes, improving the customer experience while reducing costs and increasing profits. That's the name of the game. You want to reduce costs, increase profits, get more done with less. Plus, you also really need a control tower to give you that 30,000-foot overview and a single source of truth. And I know that you mentioned that in the previous slide, Allison, but where is the single source of truth within our software here at Magaya?
That would be the Magaya rate management. It's really the control tower for all things rates. And it was built around specific rating and quoting needs, giving you everything you need to ensure accuracy, speed to market, and smarter quoting and rating decisions, all from one control tower with efficient and accurate rate management. It's a scalable solution that is flexible and is set up for organizations of all sizes, really small to, global. It has easy to use mobile quoting. It's mobile friendly, full quote history, and the ability to design your own custom quote forms so you can be the first to the market. You're able to easily find and compare rates in one place. You can link air, ocean, rail, and road, both buy and sell rates together to create a multimodal or multi-leg quote, which enables the creation of new business opportunities. You're able to easily collaborate with customers and agents and share access controlled rates in real time. And we also have a surcharge database that gives you access to a comprehensive database of surcharges, including detention and demurrage and free time guidelines for the world's top ocean carriers and hundreds of major global ports to help avoid those unnecessary charges. And then we also have our FAME for short, the Freight Allocation and Incentive Management extension that gives you control over allocation performance commitments, and that helps achieve the volume incentive program discounts that boost your profit margins with the carriers. With these tools,
I just wanted to say, Allison, that I don't know who decided on naming it Fame, but I would love to send that person a gift basket because it's just such a fun name. Fame. All right, sorry. Carry on.
I send it to Morgan Hill.
I will.
So with these tools, you'll be able to quickly generate a winning quote, all while greatly reducing the risk of errors and ensuring that shipments are carried out cost effectively to minimize the financial impact on your business. So Magaya Rate Management feeds its rates into the, excuse me, the Magaya Digital Freight Portal through seamless integration to reduce cost of sales and conversion times with online self-service quotes. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that works, Chris?
Yes, Allison. Whether it's our spot or contract rates, your customers, or even actually self-serve rate tables, right? Your customers will be able to see the pricing you set up for them with the markups and everything, and let them convert their quotes into, well, the rate requests into quotes, and then the quotes into booking requests, and just a few clicks, as shown in this diagram. That's the red arrow there between your rates and then your customer in the top layer, the customer portal, searching for these rates and schedules. And also I'd like to thank whoever programmed this webinar for giving this slide to me, because this is my favorite slide like in the world. I know most people don't have a favorite slide, I recommend.
That's an odd thing to have a favorite of, but you can
I
send
do, yeah.
me.
And this is
Yeah.
I just love how this diagram explains our offering, of the 5 different products and how they interact. I sometimes look at this slide outside working hours.
Oh my God. Well, I feel like that was a little bit too honest on this webinar, at least, Chris. We appreciate your candor.
I apologize. Yeah, might have been TMI. Right. So, and let's continue with the process of what your customer would then do after finding the rates and schedules they would like the flight or sailing to be on, and they can then convert this into a booking request in their portal. And then, as we will see on the next slide, the request goes into the Magaya supply chain product, which is what a freight forwarder's operations team would use as a back office system. So if we click next here, we'll see the booking light up in the middle there, and then how that converts into a shipment in Magaya supply chain, which is what you see the screenshot of here. Your operations team will then take what the customer sent from the portal as a request, really as a suggestion. It is not yet a booking. Your team will have to book this with a carrier after you have made sure that the commodities are correct, the container types. You can add documents. We have hundreds of standard document templates, so you could have your own. And crucially, you can make sure that the rates that the customer requested are actually correct. You can still modify or add any charges. And if we look at then the next slide, the key is that whatever on that shipment in your back office system, whatever you put there, either you link POs or warehousing to it. You can even add insurance. We sell cargo insurance right from within the software. And any milestones that you add that have come in through tracking and visibility feeds, it is all visible on the customer portal, the top layer there on the shipment for your shipper BCO customers.
So that actually, oh, go ahead, Chris. Sorry, I was gonna
wanted to give you a drum roll cue, Alfred, visibility. Let's go.
Yeah, I was gonna say that dovetails perfectly into visibility, but I actually wanted to take a pause here and say, were you breaking out into a slight sweat when that next slide wasn't coming through? You can be honest.
Yeah, I thought we had lost our slide person, and we have to do the rest of the webinar on the single slide. And even though that is my favorite slide, it wouldn't hold us over for minutes.
No worries. I appreciate that. All right, so let's talk freight visibility. It's currently top of mind for a lot of companies in the freight industry, and this has been especially more important since the pandemic because customers are now used to this brand new world of 24/7 delivery updates that were provided by e-commerce companies. Now, Chris, I actually didn't want you to go back on mute because what do you think of this kind of paradigm shift in terms of thinking? I mean, customers don't really want their cargo to kind of show up at origin and then disappear into black hole only to reappear almost at destination. That's not ideal for anyone.
Of course not. And when we think about visibility, from a freight forwarder's perspective, why it's important to know where the container is, or where the cargo is that you have to help your customer avoid detention and demurrage, and that is the biggest consequence of not knowing where the cargo is, not knowing when there are delays when you have to make quick operational changes. And I'd also like to highlight here that as service providers, you should think about visibility in 2 ways. One, the inbound visibility, like how but then also how you let your customer know. And hopefully how you let your customer know automatically in a self-serve way, so you don't have to call them or receive calls from different time zones, or send out endless emails when there are exceptions, etc. So let's pass it to Allison to talk about, Magaya's answer to keeping your customers in the know when it comes to visibility.
Yes, this is my favorite slide.
There you
Not
have
really,
it.
but
By the end of it, we're all going to have our favorite slides, I promise.
it's really not my favorite. I like Chris's too, but this, it really does kind of just tie everything together. As we all know, that visibility and cargo tracking trend has applied pressure on shippers and freight forwarders, and it's all over my LinkedIn, the visibility and cargo tracking. And unfortunately, a lot of people can't, afford significant costs of a system like this because of smaller budgets and thinner profit margins, even if it means that they'll be able to keep up with the standards that their competitors have set. But luckily, we've developed a tool that can help level the playing field for those small to medium-sized players. And that is the Digital Freight Portal. Whenever you use the Digital Freight Portal with Magaya Supply Chain, you'll be able to keep your customers informed effortlessly and give them that convenience of having all of their documents, all of their photos, reports, milestones in one place. Your customers will have 24/7 access for really self-customer service, taking those phone calls and those emails off of your plate, and they'll have a more automated process where they can view inventory, invoices, shipments, bookings, reports, milestones, and more. This portal will give a complete view of all shipments at all times, and it gives stakeholders easy access to the status of the whereabouts of the shipment in real time. And if there is a delay, then the customer will get notified and they can receive instant notifications on the go with our real-time tracking in the LiveTrack mobile app by Magaya that also works with the Digital Freight Portal. And a lot of our customers have warehouses. And so that's where the Flow WMS by Magaya comes into play. It's a new generation of mobile warehouse management software, and it dramatically increases warehouse productivity from a mobile app, which is, there we go, mobile again, but it's designed for both Android and iOS.
We
It
love to
offers
see it.
mobile. It offers the freedom of modern mobile warehouse management with real-time visibility and functionality needed for efficient warehouse operations, including inventory management and fast receiving, picking, and loading.
Here, if I can jump in, by the way, because some of you may have been asking, like, why do you need a WMS app for iOS if all the warehouse devices run on Android? And here again, in Magaya, we know that many of our customers, and proudly so, that we serve are really small companies just starting, and we wanted to eliminate the barrier of entry that having handhelds in a warehouse can be, because they cost thousands of dollars sometimes. And so anybody with their personal phone, whether it be Android or iPhone, could actually just download, or any Magaya customer, let's say, download the app and just try it out, of course, to a limited functionality, because it doesn't have built-in barcode scanners, etc. But you can try it out on your phone and then decide which more capital-heavy hardware investment to make. So that I think is something I always like to mention.
And it's a good thing to mention because some of those handheld scanners cost a mortgage payment. So that's really nice.
Yep.
Thanks, Chris. Yep, so the Magaya Digital Freight Portal also makes it easy to centralize, streamline, and optimize shipping and warehousing operations. This way, you and your customers can accurately track inventory levels, minimize stockouts, and reduce the risk of overstocking. It will give you the ability to monitor the entire supply chain from suppliers to customers, ensuring efficient and effective management of your inventory. Your customers will have all key documents and photos in one place. Not to mention that you will both save time avoiding, like we've said, calls and emails about inventory, warehouse receipts, cargo releases, pickup orders, and more by offering them this 24/7 self-service access. They won't have to ask you for all of this. They'll have it at their fingertips. They'll be informed, and they won't have to pick up the phone or send an email, and they can even receive instant notifications on the go with our LiveTrack mobile app. That, like we said, works in conjunction with your digital freight portal.
That's brilliant, Allison. Thank you so much. And I'm going to pick it back up from here in data and analytics. And now I think it was Chris that mentioned it in one of his slides that you can't manage what you don't measure. And data is king. We need to remember that. It's becoming more and more true in an industry that's considerably old school, quote unquote. And people who work in supply chain management and logistics need to handle their data effectively. That way, it helps them make smarter choices and improve their operations and keep going even when things get tough, during some soft markets or financial headwinds. But how do you see the data landscape in Magaya? And I guess this is a question for you, Chris, because you're a pretty analytical guy. So where can we find this?
Yes, thanks, Alfred. So we've had reports, obviously, like any system of record type of software has to have reports and reports that can be emailed out to your customers on a schedule, run automatically. Any different types of data export, so you can get your data out to spreadsheets and slice it how you want. So we've had that for decades, but now our most recent extension, actually, we call it Insights by Magaya. What it does is aggregates data from your Magaya supply chain database, or multiple if you have them. So you could use it as a group-wide reporting and visualization layer. And so we aggregate that data into a data warehouse and give our customers access, so that if you have a BI tool that you're already using, you can just plug in your Magaya supply chain data as well, which is your everything to do with your operations, your shipments, your warehousing. Or if you don't have one, it comes with Power BI included out of the box, and it has a ton of out of the box dashboards already. Plus, you can customize easily to add your own. So this is something we are still working with our early adopters on improving, and we're getting feedback and constantly adding data and connections between the data that enable you to analyze it in different light. But this is something that I think in the future every single one of our customers will want to have.
We should have probably set up this webinar, Chris, by setting up a drinking game, and every time that you say out of the box, our attendees take a shot. I hope no one has
After
any
hours.
after hours. Okay, we'll make sure the
Magaya
webinars
happy
are
hour
host.
webinar. Yes.
Thank you, Chris. All right, last point here that we have is implementing a CRM. Because lastly, how are you going to juggle all these complex relationships in your business? What about the interactions your agents are having day in and day out? Are you going to refer to 1,000 emails to get the pulse on how a customer is doing? Or think of the logistical nightmare of having to collaborate across multiple teams inside of your business. And that's where the Magaya CRM comes in. And Chris, this one's also yours.
Yes, so this is our newest product. The previous one was our newest extension. And if you want to know the difference, you have to join the Magaya happy hour that Alfred was alluding to. This is our newest product. And really, we had been hearing from our customers for years that Magaya doesn't offer, nor does anyone else in the industry, a CRM for logistics specifically. That you could use more expensive or not expensive, but other very generic CRM tools. And so we set out to solve that. And again, it is one of our newer products. We're still working with customers to constantly improve it. For example, we'll have the ability to generate quotes out of CRM that will sync into your operations software, coming out soon. What it currently already does helps those customers that have a more structured sales process where they really want to track the lead to opportunity funnel, and additionally not have the data about communication. There you go, I said data. The data on prospect salesperson communication stuck in the salesperson's email. So it syncs everything with Outlook, your appointments and your communication to the account. So it really increases the visibility there for your sales teams and from a sales management perspective. And
All right.
so that's all about Magaya CRM. Back to you, Alfred.
Thank you, Chris. And so we've thrown a ton of tips and tricks and solutions to you. So we're going to go ahead and take a breather. I promise there's just going to be 2 more questions before we get into the Q&A portion of it, where we'll open the floor to let you speak your mind. But I'd personally like to know which of these Magaya solutions presented would have the most impact on your operations efficiency. And we have all of the ones that Chris, Allison, and I went over: the DFP, Digital Freight Portal, Magaya Rate Management, Supply Chain, Flow WMS, Insights, or the Magaya CRM. And so let's open it up. Let's hear from you. After that, we're going to take a quick survey, and then we'll flow right into the Q&A portion. All right, so we have the results of our final poll, and it seems like first place was the Magaya Digital Freight Portal, and I guess in that case, that means that you won the bet, Allison. That was the product that you presented, closely followed by Magaya CRM and Magaya Rate Management. So 2 for Allison, 1 for Chris. How does it feel, Allison?
Love to see it.
This
I'll
is
be
your
busy.
Super Bowl.
I feel like the
So
49ers,
yeah. No follow-up questions. All right, and then one last survey before we go to the Q&A portion. Would you like to learn more about Magaya after seeing everything that we've gone over? Trust me, this one is 100% anonymous, so don't worry, you're not going to hurt Allison, mine, or Chris's feelings, but we'd love to go ahead and have the answer to this so one of our incredible account executives can reach out and hopefully show you some more detail. If you're lucky, you'll even get Allison. Chris is not customer facing, although I know he would love to be, but we try to keep him in the back working on product. Right, Chris?
No, product management needs very customer facing, but that's for a different webinar.
Okay, now that we're done with the survey, let's move on to Q&A. Like we mentioned at the beginning during our housekeeping session, go ahead and send us your questions through the chat. It seems like there's already one that came in from Ron, and Chris says that he's going to answer this one live. So go ahead, take it away, Chris.
Yes, so we have Ron asking if our system is connected with transporters, so they can see the pickup orders from the portal and arrange pickups. So absolutely not ashamed to say we don't have it. We need to be upfront. So Magaya supply chain is not exactly a drayage TMS. We're mostly handling the international part, and then more like a long haul domestic moves. But this is where I would refer back to what I was saying, that make sure you have a system that does it all, even if it means connecting multiple different systems. And we do have cases where we've partnered with drayage providers or drayage portals through our API and through some external partners that have built it. So the problem that you're referring to, Ron, has been solved with Magaya as a piece of it, and we're happy to support any developers or partners or any drayage TMS softwares that you're already using today.
All right. Very cool. And we have a second one from Carrie. If our company is only needing a portal for the transit cargo insurance, is there an API integration tool or a way to just utilize the selling of the transit insurance? Oh, Carrie, that is a good question. And especially considering that before my lovely time here in Magaya Marketing, I was actually inside of Magaya Insurance, which is a sister company. I don't know if Allison or Chris want to take this one, or if you want me to answer it, but it's up in the air. Oh, did I lose you guys?
No,
I actually,
Alfred, I think I
I
was
don't know
actually
the
the
answer
one
to this one.
um, so yeah, we actually, Carrie, you can speak with one of our representatives at Magai Insurance. Her name is Vanessa. She is quite possibly one of the most incredible human beings I've had the pleasure of working with. And we do have a portal where you can go ahead and purchase insurance a la carte. You don't necessarily need the Magaya DFP or the Magaya supply chain solution in order to be able to go ahead and do that. And I will absolutely forward your information over to her so she can reach out. Cool. All right. So we have another one from James. I like that invoices can be sent to QB. Would love to have QB talk back to Magaya, marking invoices paid. For 1 second there, and this is funny because I know absolutely nothing about football, but I read QB and my knee-jerk reaction was quarterback, which I knew wasn't the right answer. It is QuickBooks. So would love to have QuickBooks talk back to Magaya marking invoices paid. This is a product question, Chris. This is all you.
And this is me writing down that feedback. Yes, James will reach out. We do have a roadmap for our QuickBooks online integration extension, and we'll get back to you on this one.
Perfect. Okay. Next up, it also says, is Magaya software available in any other languages? I'll take this one. It's an easy one. Yes, all of our software solutions are available in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. French is coming soon, but right now, English, Spanish, and Portuguese. That one's on there. Okay. This one on here, can I migrate from my current system to Magaya? This one, who wants to take this one?
I can take this one. Yes, you can import your client database from your current logistics system, as well as accounting information. So you can start working without having to interrupt your current operations.
Fantastic. And we love that. We don't want to interrupt current operations. And this one's here regarding Flow WMS, specifically regarding Wi-Fi connection in the warehouse, which we all know is absolutely terrible. Can they continue using Flow WMS if they lose Wi-Fi connection, Chris?
Yes, absolutely. There are that's one of the highlights again in using modern devices that also have mobile data, so you don't have to lose connection. But even if you do, your work is automatically saved on the device. so that when you get your connection back, nothing is lost and you can submit it.
Fantastic. Good to know. All right. Caleb has a question, and it's, will Magaya integrate with HubSpot CRM? Here at Magaya, we're big fans of HubSpot. We actually have some of our marketing team members go to Inbound in Boston every another product question, Chris. So this one's for you.
Again, the general answer is yes. Pretty much anything is integratable with our APIs. You just have to, we just have to work together either with our professional services team that we can have, build out the use case, wireframe it, help you with the development part of the integration. Or if you have your own IT team or your own development team, we'll just, provide API and support for it. But basically, you can integrate Magaya with any system you're currently using, where it makes sense operationally.
Perfect. All right. It seems like we don't have any further questions. So we want to go ahead and, like Jay-Z, end this on a high note. I wanted to thank everyone, all of our attendees that came today. I also wanted to thank our amazing panelists, Chris and Allison. You guys make this so much fun. And before you go, if you want to learn more on your own, those who answered yes, that they're interested, we will be following up with them via email. But we have this amazing QR code in the middle of the screen. You can go ahead and scan that with your camera, and it's going to take you to our resources library where you can find out some more information on your own. Maybe do a little research. With that, thank you so much, and we'll catch you at the next Magaya webinar. Take care.